There is perhaps no better demonstration of the folly of human conceits than this distant image of our tiny world. To me, it underscores our responsibility to deal more kindly with one another and to preserve and cherish the pale blue dot, the only home we've ever known.
Good evening or morning, whenever you watch this, or wherever it is for you. Welcome. We're going to do, Ben, actually. We're going to do an interview with Dr. Ben, or student Dr. Ben, this evening, but he is doing his internal medicine rotation. I think it's his third day. So he had some patients to look after, so we decided instead of doing nothing, since I've done so little lately, we would just throw something together and have a nice, lovely chat. So, anybody who, if anybody wants on, just, hit me up in the chat. I'll send you a link. And if not, we'll say hi to everybody here. We'll start with Erin. How you doing, Erin?
Pretty good. Just hanging out in the heat here.
Mm-hmm. You had a bit of a rough week, so we're happy to have you here. I don't know if you want to talk about it, but you did say something on Twitter yesterday, so I don't feel like I'm putting it out there, but you did have a little procedure yesterday, so I appreciate you taking the time to come here after having surgery. So thank you.
Yeah, it wasn't anything too crazy. It just refused the pain meds, so it was a little harder to get over than it probably should have been.
It's just being able to spend time with friends, and we just do it on a stream, I guess, and you guys do it for all day on Sundays. I love that. And then you do it Tuesdays as well, but then it's such a long time in between Tuesdays and Sundays
Yeah,
again.
it
So,
is.
yeah.
And I don't know, I may have to remedy that at some point, but I haven't yet. Um,
And
got to work in some time for the Lavender Life in there too, as far as that goes.
mhm. How is if anybody doesn't know, Diana is getting back to health from some kidney issues.
Yeah, well, my kidneys died, and I now get to bleed into a machine 3 days a week, 4 hours at a time, and that's all fun. Yeah, um, I saw it described a couple days ago by someone who was answering one of my posts as a part-time job you don't get paid for, and I tried looking at it that way, and no, it doesn't help. Um,
You
but
can keep complaining, but you feel so much better than you did about 3, 4 weeks ago when you were practically dead and we had to drag you to the hospital. So fuck off.
it's amazing though when I think about it. It's almost 2 months since I went into the hospital. Um, it was mid-June, and yeah, they did ask me, and I said, "Why are you not dead?" And
You're
yeah, it
stubborn as
was.
fuck.
I guess that's it. I
Actually,
guess
no,
I.
because Kate is stubborn enough for you to make sure you didn't die.
Oh my, it's nuts. It really is. No, I needed 2 pints of blood because I was so anemic. Um, and I'm still working my way up to full capacity as far as that goes, as far as hemoglobin goes. But no, when I go to the bus to get to dialysis, I don't have to stop every 50 feet. So I guess that's something.
You look and sound a billion times better, so I'm just grateful. You scared us for a while there.
I'm not going to say all that much because I think, well, those who are
Mhm.
listening in know that I hadn't made a decision, and I'm still not
Shut
positive
up,
about it.
Diana. Fuck off. All right.
Hey, hey,
Anyway,
hey.
um, we're glad you're alive. I'm not gonna let you sit here and tell us how much you want to die. Shut the fuck up, Diana. Dave.
Uh,
I know you can't stay for too long, but I appreciate you stopping by. How you doing, hon?
Oh, terrible. Failing at everything.
You're not failing at everything. Stop that. What's going on?
Nothing. Literally. Because I haven't managed to do anything. So I've had like 3 days of not doing anything at all.
oh no. Are you broken?
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh no, not good.
I'm sorry.
So at the moment, I'm feeling guilty about the things I didn't do yesterday. But yesterday, I was feeling guilty about the things I didn't do the day before. So it's all adding up now.
You'll catch up eventually. You always do. I had a week of that of the really super duper horrible can't get out of bed pains up until a couple days ago. So I know you have the being exhausted on top of it. So give yourself a break.
The eyes open is a problem.
Yeah, I know. But you're not a failure because at the very least you're always there for us.
I've had some
For
good
me.
news, actually.
What?
Or vaguely good news or amusing news.
Mm.
Today, I'm back to my pre-COVID weight.
Oh, how did you manage
Oh
that?
my.
Not eating?
But are you dieting on purpose?
No, not particularly.
Just no appetite?
No.
Yeah, me too. I've lost 12 pounds since I went into remission because I have no appetite. I should be gaining weight and getting better, but anyway. But yeah, so and then we just lost Ben.
Oh
But
no.
there.
No, y'all are scaring me with your unintentional weight loss. Like I literally asked that to a bunch of people today.
Well, then we'll introduce Ben, since this was supposed to be his show tonight, but this is the first time on my channel, right? Yes.
Yeah,
So,
first of your time.
And Ben, can you tell us a little bit about yourself real quick, and then we'll just all get to chatting.
Yeah, so I'm a third-year medical student, and I have a YouTube channel where I talk about trans issues related to medicine. So like explaining the medical side of biological sex and things to the trans community, but then also explaining a lot of social issues to the medical community and kind of how we can do better along a lot of those fronts. I also go on Twitch sometimes and I stream medical cases. Like I pretend to be Dr. House and y'all get to just like chat and tell me what to do with my patients. And you kind of see my thought process there. The reason why I wasn't doing like a full episode of Amanda today was because I was working at the hospital today and I had no idea what time I was getting off. And it turns out I was off on time, but it's like, I just never know. So I didn't want to commit to something and then like bail last minute. So
it's fine.
Okay, then. Yeah.
We're not exactly super, strict around here or anything. Just glad to have you guys around. So I was thinking about starting with the weirdest or stupidest or worst interaction that we've had on like Twitter this week or something. How about you, Erin? Anything super crazy you had to deal with on social media this week?
I don't think so. I gotta say, I think I've been kind of just avoiding all of that kind of stuff recently. I tend to view trolls and people that are antagonistic as like teenagers or kids or I just I don't see any point too much in engaging anymore. It just kind of ruins my day. So I think I have made a conscious effort to not give a fuck about people that are deliberately trying to be antagonistic. Whatever it is, that need for people to just get in fights with strangers half the time, you have no idea who you're dealing with. I just I think I'm kind of over it. A few weeks ago there was I had this great Twitter epiphany when I realized that people created burner accounts. Why it never occurred to me that somebody would just make a fake account just to go around and fuck with somebody. It was just something that never really crossed my mind until somebody admitted it, and they're pretty much like, oh yeah, no, I made this account just to mess with people, and it's outside of, and then I'm thinking, well, God, I might actually know the person, and now they're making this account just to I'm done. I'm done. There's nothing productive in that.
Maya Forrester, who is one of the lead gender critical people in the UK after she got sacked for something, she was congratulating the gender critical movement's use of sock accounts.
Yeah, you showed me that.
To amplify the anti-trans voice. And they were caught buying subscriptions to their association.
Really?
Yeah.
It's like whenever one of the super right-wing Republicans sells a book, they end up buying a bunch of them and just putting them in a warehouse somewhere.
I assume you saw Shapiro's thing. Was it Shapiro?
On Bill Maher's?
No, where he wrote a message in response to one of his videos as a woman, and he forgot. What?
Oh, what?
And he forgot to switch accounts to his Stefan Molyneux, and he forgot to switch accounts.
Oh, okay.
So it was done as him, As a woman, I think you're right about this, and blah 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 blah.
Oh my God. Oh my God. That's.
But see, that kind of thing is exactly what makes me question the whole reasoning of arguing with somebody on the freaking internet in the first place.
Yeah.
The problem you have got is that their voice wins. It's not that you should argue with them.
What is it winning, though? What's it winning? What is their voice winning?
It's the reason. Okay, the reason I have these conversations is not other people have different reasons. Is not for the person you're talking to. If you let them spout their nonsense into an echo chamber, that's all when anyone goes to look for these things will see.
But that's all they see anyway, because that's the definition of an echo chamber. And even if you're presenting something that is valid and evidence to the contrary and proves them wrong, if they're secure enough in what they believe, it's not going to change your mind.
No, it's not going to change their mind ever.
Or the people that are looking at it, because ultimately we're all looking at our own echo chamber. When I go through my own feed, very rarely do I find somebody that is, way against something that I actually already think. And even though I try to go out of my way to try to make sure that I have diverse opinions, I absolutely have my own echo chamber. And I deliberately try to not to. So I'm very doubtful that that people even have access to genuine other opinions. So maybe there's a little blurb or a reply or something on a thread, but I ultimately just don't see a lot of the gain of it anymore. Maybe at one point when people weren't completely drowning in their own algorithms, I just don't see it really reaching people beyond what they already think, be it whether they're involved in the conversation or just looking at it. I really think that we've put ourselves as a whole, as a species, in such a spot where we're all regurgitating and lapping up our own opinions. I think it's hard to get out of that, because we're traveling upstream.
Yeah. No, I get that. Good, dude.
I don't know. I guess I've become very nihilistic when it comes to Twitter. I get so tired of just seeing the same thing all the time.
Okay, I'm intrigued as to whether or not you use the Twitter client.
I don't even know what that is.
How do you use Twitter?
How do I use Twitter?
Yeah.
I don't know, the app.
Right. Okay. So they are dictating. You interact only with about the 20 or so people that interact with you.
I don't know.
Right. That's it. You don't actually see your feed. It is completely orchestrated. I switch between my phone and TweetDeck, which gives me sequential Twitter, and the difference in the feeds is phenomenal. Most of the feed I would see on TweetDeck, I do not see in my client on the Twitter client on my phone in the app, because they orchestrate.
You follow like 20,000 people though.
Yeah.
So how do you
my people are listed. So you are all in 3 lists, which is Fun List, Atheist / Science, and LGBT, right? Which means that, and those lists only have about 300 people in, right? And they're people for and against. Well, apart from the Fun List, they're for and against. So I see the conversations that are arguing backwards and forwards on those topics, okay, and decide whether to butt in. Right? So I don't get that.
People that are in more than one group, like Fun and LGBT or whatever.
So yeah.
Do you have people that are in more than one group?
Most people are in more than one group. Well, most people that I would consider on my side are in more than one group. Right? Because I don't tend to follow people I disagree with, because again, there's no point, because Twitter orchestrates the feed. I just have them in lists and don't follow them.
Gotcha.
So my point being, I mean, how I do it, it's irrelevant. My point is that Erin is completely right about the feed that she is getting. It is a complete echo chamber because it is orchestrated in that way, because they're the people that she interacts with the most.
Mm.
I don't even know if you can get out of that in the Twitter app itself. I don't believe so. But
it gives me an option to have either the most recent tweets or whatever the other thing is. And so I always pick that one. But even if I think that people that are aware of what they've personally curated on their own Twitter and what they get shown, I think those people are few and far between.
I think you're right.
And
completely.
especially as like I've started to hang out with like my friends in person and have really had some eye-opening experience, because we don't really the people that I know that I hang out with or used to hang out with regularly, we don't interact all that much on would be just my personal Facebook page. It's very minimal, and it's dog pictures and kid pictures and shit like that. So there's not a lot of like political stuff. There's the COVID stuff has come up. But what I'm finding is when I'm hanging out with people in person after the last, year and a half, is that you can tell the echo chambers that they're in. And even trying to reach those people on a personal level in person, face to face, it's extremely difficult.
I think they're reinforced by the echo chambers there, even if you're not sharing the echo chamber online.
Yes.
So anything you say to them, you might even be able to start to convince them. And then the second that they go online, their original echo chamber is just going to keep them reinforce everything they believed previously.
Yeah. So part of me is very, very, very skeptical as to how to, and it may be that I'm just not skilled in that. But I would think that reaching people one-on-one, at least as far as trying to get somebody to think about getting vaccinated or, something like that. And, I have friends that are very eclectic I have a friend who's an atheist who, considers herself a Wiccan and I'm not sure that she really even understands what that is. I think it's just kind of fun and cool, and she likes the candles and the sage and stuff like that. But she also calls herself an atheist and things like that. And that's just her own thing. That's what she does. But there are people that are really hard to, I've friends that I've known for 20 years that are now QAnon believers, which is fucking terrifying. They're people that I've known forever. And it's this weird, like, static thing, whereas, I'm kind of starting and choose who I hang out with. But I do kind of feel that everybody, regardless of whether I agree with their positions on whatever issue it is, I think that people are so accustomed to getting only their own information back to them that I'm so frustrated as far as to try to have any type of conversation that revolves around anything other than puppies and dogs and what we had for dinner, because that bubble is so thick that and so, even if somebody does see a different opinion online, or they do see a counter argument or something that contradicts, I just think that we're all so lost in our own shit. I have a hard time seeing out of it en masse. And that's been part of my frustration when it comes to Twitter, is that I don't see any, I just don't see any point in it for me personally, as far as is really even pushing back. And sometimes I think people are arguing just to argue on purpose, if only with no other goal other than to upset other people. And that is personally just something I can't handle engaging with any longer. I'll probably do it again, but I'll regret it.
You are completely right in everything you said.
Some people enjoy the arguments and the antagonizing, I have a friend who that used to be one of their favorite things to do, but recently, especially with like the anti-vax, anti-mask stuff and watching people die over this bullshit, How much, Ben, are you, seeing a difference in your job because of all the rhetoric?
My laundry machine is loud, so I
It's okay.
apologize if you hear it. But
You can barely hear it, and don't worry about
okay,
it.
because I have to work tomorrow, so I'm not wearing my dirty scrubs again without washing them. So, but yeah, it's exhausting. It's absolutely exhausting. And here it's getting louder again.
No, it's okay. You can barely hear it. It's fine.
Okay. It's kind of frustrating having to explain to people the same things over and over and over again. And like it's less so at the hospital that I've experienced this, because I'm working only inpatient right now, and I'm not allowed to see any COVID patients. But I did have a patient today who is not vaccinated for COVID and who did have COVID previously. But our hospital's filling up pretty quickly with COVID patients. And then it's mostly outside the hospital that I'm seeing all the weird rhetoric going down. Like all these people out here that are arguing all this stuff who don't really have any exposure to COVID at all. Like haven't been working with it, haven't like seen anything actually related to COVID. And it's like, okay, it's one thing to have these hypothetical discussions about COVID and like, what if I get COVID and stuff? It's another thing to like be immersed in it. Like this is our lives. Like how many times do I have to tell you this? Like it's not great. So yeah, I mean, it's just frustrating in general.
I remember reading that article about the nurse who said, people that are getting ventilators are, asking for the vaccine and stuff like that. That's just heartbreaking, because as mad as we want to be at, the anti-vaxxers and stuff, a lot of them, it's just, they're dumb and it's annoying, but, they're getting fed this stuff from, Fox and the president when it was Trump. And, places that they consider authority, and it's not always truly their fault.
Oh, I don't blame the people. I blame the people spreading this information. Like if you don't know what you're talking about, shut up. Don't talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's so frustrating. Like I've been going to school for a long time. Like I'm in my 19th year of school. Actually, technically my 20th, but I don't count my 5th year of undergrad. But like, and I still have so much more to go. And like, there are 4,000 other things I would rather be educating my patients about than COVID. Like, plenty of other things that I want to be studying. I'm going to put my energy towards, but like, this is consuming a lot of our time and resources. And like, I just want people to understand that, like, and this is why I started a channel as well, is that science is not simple and medicine is not simple. There's a reason why I've been going to school for this long and why I feel stupid every single day of my life and will never feel smart ever again, because it's hard. It's like,
learn every day of your life.
You learn every day. Yeah, that's the positive way to put it. But like, it's the whole Dunning-Kruger thing of like, they think they understand like a freshman in high school level of biology, therefore they know how to talk about COVID and medicine. No, you do not. You do not.
It is very, very frustrating. And I see a lot of people online talk about, just let all the anti-vaxxers die and whatnot. And it's easy to jump to that, but a lot of,
and it's not that simple.
No, it's not. And it's so upsetting that people like Tucker Carlson and all of those assholes that are vaccinated are just spreading this for political reasons, and people are dying for it. Did you guys see the thing about when Marjorie Taylor Greene was speaking at some Republican conference in Alabama, and actually was bragging about the fact that Alabama is one of the lowest, has one of the lowest vaccine percentage rates,
She would. She would.
Yeah, I was getting to that. Angel's behind the computer, and then she pointed out, because you know how the government is offering, especially in areas like Alabama and places that they're not really getting the vaccine rates that they want, to send volunteers out. Yes, some door to door, maybe just in the town or whatever. And she said that thing about how Southerners love their Second Amendment rights. So basically saying, encouraging her supporters to shoot vaccine volunteers. Like, what are we supposed to do with this? You didn't see that?
I didn't, and that's like, I mean, it's not surprising, but it's horrifying.
Mm-hmm. Did you see that, Erin?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
I did.
Okay.
And I guess I could say if there's any field of study I have an expertise in, it's attention whores. And that's really all she is. That's really all she is. And it freaks me out that there are people that, take to heart what she says. But I have to believe, for the sake of humanity, that the vast majority of people don't take her seriously. And like the friends I have, and like I said, these are friends that I've had for 20 something years. So it's not like we're not talking about people I can just write off because I've known them for, whatever, and it's no big deal. But, I have friends that are Trump supporters, and, the biggest compliment and the biggest attraction to him, which I still find disgusting, is the fact that he says stupid shit and that he goes against the grain, and he's this big old rebel, and he's deliberately antagonistic, and he says things, and like in my family before he was elected, one of my family members said, oh, but words don't matter, he's just stirring the pot, he's changing things different, and this is just such a I'm making a big deal out of it. I believe the exact conversation was the pussy conversation, which I found abhorrent. And for somebody who's sex positive and all that stuff, I'm like, I can't look at this man and tell my kid to respect him as the leader of our country. I'm like, we're beyond policy. We're beyond politics. We're talking about just simple, decency. And I think that these little people that come behind him, like whoever, what's her name is, the blonde, whatever. Yeah, she's nothing but following in his footsteps. Does she even believe what she's saying? Does Tucker Carlson believe what he's saying? No, he doesn't. They do it because that's their shtick now. That's what they do. And they're nothing but cheap attention whores. Mm-hmm. That's all Trump is. That's all he's ever been. Everything he's done is to get attention. And so the people that come along behind him are doing that too. So do I think she's serious? No. Do I think the vast majority of people that listen to her think she's serious? No. But they're getting all excited because she's out there talking shit and being tough and, sounding like a badass or whatever the fuck. And that's what it is. It's like a 6th grade mentality, Mm-hmm. So do I think people are going to shoot people that are coming door to door? No. Mm-hmm. No. But I'm going to take a wild guess and say that nobody, I don't care who the fuck you are, unless you're like the SWAT team or the sheriff, is going to roll up to some rural property in Alabama. I know even in Northern California, I grew up, after I moved out of Southern California, I moved up to the foothills, and we had 2 acres, and every plot was like we had the small plot. Mm-hmm. And driveways are 1/4 of a mile long. You don't walk up to somebody's driveway ever. You don't go down somebody's driveway. You don't go through their fence. So I have to take what she says with like a tablespoonful of salt, because it's only to rile up people. It's only to upset people. And she's nothing but an attention whore, and a bad one. She's not even cute. At least she should show some fucking tits or something and make it interesting. Instead, she's just spouting a bunch of nonsense.
Well, the problem though is the half dozen people who do take her seriously. They can cause a good bit of problem, on their own. The one, for example, who will say, "I would rather die than take your vaccine." This guy is spreading virus wherever he walks. I've please excuse me, Ben. I know you're in the medical field, but I'll say that, okay, if you'd rather die, then please do it now and be quick about it. I would rather see the anti-vaxxer sequestered, but I can't do that because I don't have the power to do it. Damn it!
Well, all these people that are, equating, getting a vaccine, something like wearing a seatbelt, but again, you're only protecting yourself in that case. And people that have, I was I was out in town yesterday, a couple days ago, and it's basically not even all the people that are working are wearing masks anymore. So, like, I went to the coffee shop, maybe half of the baristas were wearing masks, and I was literally the only person in this entire packed coffee shop that had a mask on. Can't imagine how many people are vaccinated. It's just like we keep coming up against the same issue. They're fighting against, oh, we don't want to be suppressed. We don't want to have to wear the masks. You said if we only wore them for X amount of days, then this would stop. And
yeah, the problem is that nobody did that.
Exactly.
No one did that.
Yeah, everybody did it.
They're screaming at the moment. They're screaming at the moment. You said we get our lives back when we got a vaccine. Like, we're not fucking vaccinated yet.
Yeah.
To be honest, I mean, and granted, I'm in California, so I'm, obviously in the best place in the whole world. But, but we're even though in the suburbs, like, there's still a few like Trumpers. I'm technically in the Trump demographic and the Karen demographic, which is awesome. I feel like every time I walk into a store, people are ready for me to like throw myself on the floor and faint.
Do you not feel you should live up to expectations?
Yeah. But so the strip club that I used to work at opened again a few weeks ago, and all the dancers have to wear masks and all the staff wear masks, and they were required to get vaccinated, but they will ask customers as they come in to wear a mask, but they won't actually they won't keep pushing the idea. But it just kind of struck me as funny as the industry itself tends to be rather fringe. It tends to be kind of on the outs. It's built on the First Amendment. There's been several lawsuits just in my general area with clubs that I've worked for that are literally based around the First Amendment and freedom of expression and all that stuff. And that's basically how the clubs are able to operate. And every single fucking one of them are wearing a mask. Every single one of them do, They're not screaming my freedom this, my freedom that. And a lot of them are right wingers. But I think strippers maybe understand the idea of germ theory a little better than anybody else. You're meeting people from all over the world, all over the country that are flying on planes, So, but there's apparently between the strippers and the staff, they all are 100% mask compliant. But like at the gym, I'm still going to the gym and I wear my mask. There's one or two that won't, and they usually walk around with a scowl on their face, that kind of thing. They're waiting for you to say something, and I don't. I do my thing and I go on. So now that I've been vaccinated, my family's been vaccinated. The vast majority of people we come in contact with, and in California where it's relatively low, I mean, we've pretty much gone back to normal as much as we can.
Welcome, Rex.
Hey everybody.
We started. What? Oh, sorry. Angel started school on Monday, and by Friday morning, we had gotten a call from the school district that there were 4 cases already, 4 students that had it. I don't think they're not saying anything about teachers, but yeah. So they're actually making the students do have to wear masks now. Angel and a couple of his friends have been the only ones all week wearing them, basically for the most part in his high school, but now they're all forced to wear them, so that's something. But I'm sorry, but especially with the fact that a certain I think it's under 12 is it Ben that can't get vaccinated? Yeah. So most kids can't get vaccinated anyway. This is going to be,
which is scary because they're seeing that the Delta variant is affecting children, and pediatric hospitals are filling up. My friends who are pediatricians and residents in pediatric programs are struggling a lot right now.
I can't imagine, like with Florida, them having the no masks, or they not allowing them to have mask laws in the schools. And with, what is it, a third of our country's COVID cases are in Florida right now. They're going to open up those schools. And shit. What do you think you expect, Ben? As a
it's going to be bad. It's going to be really bad. And something I did want to mention with all this is, like, we are facing, at least in the hospitals, we're facing a real life trolley problem, like every day with ventilators. Yeah. Like, because the general public doesn't have to make a decision about who gets the ventilator and who doesn't, but we do at the hospital. We have to make that decision. And this happened like back within like the first few surges of COVID, where in my medical school classes, we had conversations of how do you prioritize who gets a ventilator and who doesn't. And so hospitals have to come up with systems of here's how you rank people based on their deservingness of a ventilator. And the fact that we have to do that is horrible. But then also, like,
Ben, do you get towards how? I've got no problem with you deciding who deserves. That's relatively, you've got to have that when you've got a limited grid. Here's my problem: is do you take someone off because there is someone who's deserving?
That is a question. That's part of the discussions that people have to have. And the horrible, horrible thing, and this, I don't know if this hospital is still doing this. I don't know which hospital it is specifically, but there is a hospital in Arizona where I'm learning medicine. And this was during like the last big wave of COVID, where they were deciding to rank people including disability status on that. Yeah. So people, they determined based on your value to society, essentially.
Wow.
And they determined disability status counted in that. And it's absolutely disgusting that people are making decisions like that. How are you going to tell somebody they deserve to live less than somebody else because of their disability status? That is horrible.
Yeah. If they are not including whether or not someone is vaccinated in that, and should get vaccinated in those formulas now, I'm going to be pissed.
Yeah, like that should be like the highest thing. Like, it's your own personal choice to like do anything about it.
Yeah.
Because you can control your, at least for most people who don't have any medical conditions that prevent them from being vaccinated, if you can get vaccinated and you are choosing not to, you are making a stupid decision and you should have to face those consequences. Absolutely.
You know what I think, and maybe it would only make sense here in America, where we're all, yay, capitalism and money is a financial incentive or disincentive. And I think that if people's health insurance started excluding COVID costs, if they are eligible and able to get vaccinated and don't, I tell you what, that'd light a fire under my ass, no matter what I thought of the thing. Because I've had, even now with my family's had 3 fairly significant medical procedures in the last few months. And, we're now having to decide what work we get done on our house, or, are we still going to try to save for, it just, even with really good insurance, the financial impact of just normal expenses are huge. If I got stuck with a hospital bill that wasn't covered because I refused to get a vaccine, then I think I kind of earned that shit burger. And I think that is the way to, it's the same thing with the misinformation online. I think that should be handled in the same way, at least in our own in this country, because that's what works. When Tucker Carlson and Fox News and all those fuckers start getting financial repercussions for what they're saying, they're going to change their tune. Because ultimately they're all doing it for money in the first place. So I really think that trying to appeal to empathy and compassion and a sense of community and all that stuff it's fucking failed. I think that ship has sailed. I think we're gone there. And I think there needs to start being financial repercussions for it. And I think people will get off of their trains real fast when they realize that they could get stuck. I don't even want to imagine what the cost would be to be on a ventilator. I can't even begin to fathom it. Cannot even begin to fathom it. Like you'd lose everything. You'd lose everything.
Yeah.
So, but while we have a doctor on the panel, I have a question, and maybe this might come off as a touch antagonistic, but like here in California, and especially Southern California, where we have a large Latino population, which has been hit pretty hard with the misinformation. And so and they tend to live closer together, and all that kind of stuff. So COVID has just ripped through those communities, the migrant communities, all that kind of stuff. So there has to be an element of natural immunity. And you don't see a lot of them talking about that in the news, where that has to contribute to immunity in conjunction with vaccinated immunity, right? That's got to be a piece of the puzzle that we're missing here, because like cases in LA are starting to plateau, which I read a couple of days ago anyway. So I'm wondering if I get the herd immunity is not the ideal, or the natural immunity is not the ideal way to get to herd immunity, but it seems like it is still a piece of the puzzle that's not being reported on as much.
Potentially, we don't know much about how long natural immunity lasts, because we do know you get antibodies, but we don't know exactly how long you're going to have them, like if you're going to be immune to certain variants because of it, or like there's a lot we don't know. And so theoretically it could contribute to decreasing cases, but I don't think we know enough to report on it at this point.
I think in terms of finding out, they're talking to virologists. That would be a better option, just to figure that out. I think that the whole what I'm most scared about is, as we continue to kind of branch out, we've got people that are vaccinated, and then the people that are unvaccinated are causing these worse variants. Are we going to end up with a variant that the vaccine won't be able to protect us against?
It's a legitimate concern.
Okay.
It's a legitimate concern, and there's just a lot that we don't know, which makes it so scary, because we'll
end up with the Andromeda strain or some shit like that.
Yeah. Speaking of, since Rex just came in, do you have anything to add, Rex, at all?
Well, I mean, for the people who don't want the vaccine, you got the polio shot back in the day, right?
Yeah, but it's a new vaccine. They don't. It hasn't been approved by the FDA.
Smallpox, when it first came out, and wasn't approved because it was under the same circumstances needed as a emergency. So they didn't. They wasn't immediately approved by the FDA either. Yet everybody got it, and we don't have a shit ton of smallpox anymore. So.
Well, I mean, who invented the smallpox vaccine? Salk.
Edward Jenner.
That the guy? I'm asking the doctor because he would know. Jonas Salk?
Jonas Salk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was
there's
polio.
there are two.
Was it? Oh, okay, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, it's polio.
Sorry.
I don't know who developed a smallpox vaccine.
I think
Edward
it was Jonas
Jenner.
Salk.
I have no clue.
The smallpox vaccine dates from the 18th century. What was it, 1768 or some shit like that?
Yeah,
Edward Jenner.
And it is that whole thing with like cowpox and all that stuff, like how they formulated the vaccine.
Yeah.
The name of the doctor was Edward Jenner that developed the smallpox vaccine.
That's the guy.
One of the arguments I had hoped that might work against some of my anti-vax friends, and they were anti-vax before COVID. But ironically, I think every single one of them have been vaccinated, but it all of a sudden becomes a big thing when it comes to their kids. And I'm like, but you vaccinated your kids, but now all of a sudden they're like, I don't know about vaccines. And it's like, really? You thought you did? But
which is funny.
When I was looking for the presentation I think I did last summer, I was looking up other times when we had vaccines like this, when we've been through pandemics and anti-vax movement and all that kind of stuff. And the arguments haven't changed any. They really, it's really the same shit. And I had been hoping that I might be able to say, hey, look, when they did smallpox or polio, like everybody spouted the exact same shit that you're spouting right now. Like you're really only hearing the same thing. And we needed those. We took them in the end. Everybody took them and we got rid of it. And we made progress and that was like kind of what I was getting to before, where it gets really frustrating because people that have gone down so deep into whatever thing they followed and clicked on, that they're like unreachable. I don't know. I've had my best friends call me communist, guinea pig, infer that I was poisoning my kid, like just every crazy, and these are people I've known and care about forever. But I don't know how to convince somebody once they've already taken that thing, because to me, the answers are so obvious when you look and you go, oh, hey, look, we already spouted all this nonsense before and it was fucking nonsense then and it's nonsense now. But nothing seems to hit home. Nothing seems to break through that barrier.
Well, if I can have the floor for just a second. If you did not take the polio shot, you would live your life on crutches, in a wheelchair, or in the iron lung, because that's how it worked back then before they had the shot. And when I was in the Army, the second week I was in basic training, I got so many shots I don't even know what they all were. I got a tetanus shot, I got a polio booster. And what else did I get? Oh, I got the anthrax shot.
Yeah.
But all the rest of them, I don't know what they were.
Yeah, the people
I have no idea. Yeah.
The people now really get to me. And I think some of it is they have no memory. When you were talking about polio, I know kids who had polio. I know kids who wore leg braces. I went to school with them. Now, the people now, not so many of them are in that position. They don't have that, okay, I'll call it secondhand knowledge, but still. So it's easier for them to drink the Kool-Aid. It's not entirely because they don't have the memory, but it's that non-memory makes it easier for them to pick it up.
But like I had chicken pox. And now, like, my kid won't have chicken pox. And now he won't have shingles either. Or HPV or everything else. It's like those things are within recent memory. That's what gets me so frustrated is that, and I'm like right on the edge of, I'm probably closer to Generation X than I am millennial, but I'm kind of right on the edge there. So every one of my friends,
I lost my hearing to chickenpox.
Oh.
I'm totally deaf in one ear. Completely.
So, Jenny, I can't share screen, unfortunately. Sent me an old picture. You can kind of see, well, you can't really see it, but it's basically the same thing that's happening now, only from it says the cowpox, the wonderful effects of the new inoculation. And it shows a bunch of people getting inoculated and turning into monsters, basically.
Yeah. That picture, the famous one. Yeah.
Thank you, Jenny.
Why am I not a mutant yet? Come on now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's the same rhetoric, but it doesn't matter because we forget. And you can almost like tie it into critical race theory in a weird way because it's the same idea. Is we keep repeating the same mistakes because we're not learning from it. We're just ignoring what happened then. So it's
My favorite thing, going back to how like people are so worried about the vaccine not having FDA approval. Oh, like you get a lot of those people that'll say that kind of stuff, and then they will be the same people who are going for these like woo-woo naturopath treatment things, which are totally unregulated.
That's like all of my friends.
Supplements are totally unregulated, and a lot of them are very unsafe. Like, and it's like, okay, you're gonna deny something that has like it doesn't necessarily have FDA approval, but it has mountains of evidence behind it. But you're going to accept something that like is totally unregulated and does not have evidence behind it. Like that's okay.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
the cognitive
crystals-
dissonance
my
is real.
crystals will protect me. Yeah, my crystals will protect me.
Well, it's a lot with the sources they will accept is another bit of it. I mean, just like if you'll excuse the expression religionists, they accept their holy book as the word. It is absolute incontrovertible evidence when it's actually got there's no way to know that any God was speaking through it. The same thing with the sources like David Avocado, whatever the fuck his name is.
Oh yeah,
and
awful.
they are incontrovertible, even though they've got nothing behind them. It's what they will accept, and the reasons they accept it is, I have no freaking idea. What is it about it that makes it so appealing to them? I don't know.
Yeah, guess who made
it?
Say what?
Guess.
Go ahead, Ben.
But guess who made a lovely article about Lyme disease? Who has like no authority to be talking about Lyme disease?
Oh no! Please don't tell me it was David Wolf.
No, it wasn't. Answers in Genesis.
Oh my fucking god! Wow.
So I feel like I need to comment on that now, which I'm still getting through the article I read from them about the heart and why they know God created the heart, which they put no evidence. They literally just state some facts that are overly simplified and say, therefore God. Like they literally, they don't even try to like make an argument.
I'm on AIG's side, if anybody doesn't know. I mean, if you want to just watch their posts, the crap they put from the Answers magazine, you'll find me in the comments.
Irish in the chat says that they started research for a vaccine 2 weeks after the first COVID cases, which is 19 weweeks before Trump suggested injecting bleach. So,
oh god,
there's such a huge divide right now. Like this kind of trend toward anti-science. It's not just not accepting science, but actually saying that science is the enemy. And I don't understand that at all.
The death of expertise. People, it's an interesting concept because I feel like a lot of people, especially in a very democratic society where we all believe that our votes are equal. Like my opinion is just as equal to your opinion, and that is included within like science. People think, oh, well, my vote is just as good as yours on this topic. Like, no, it is not. Like there's some people who know this topic and you don't. Like just because you have a voice does not mean your voice is just as correct as somebody else's. And I think we have some confusion on that.
I think that not too long after I actually started the whole Twitter thing, which I should emphasize, I was dragged into social media really kicking and screaming. It was my editor that said, you have to do this, or, don't bother writing anything. And I got a question through my website from a complete stranger who had read my book and for some reason was asking me about parenting as an atheist. And then also somebody was talking about, what if my daughter wanted to be a stripper or something like that? And I'm thinking, I'm a fucking stripper. Why are you asking me these questions? And I felt like a lot of responsibility because this person is writing to me as I'm an authority. And I'm like, I'm some fucking twat on Twitter, that wrote a couple of books because I danced for a long time. And yes, I did my research. Yes, I looked up into the topics that I wrote about and wanted to make sure that I had a good understanding about what I wrote about. And I tried to be, as accurate as I possibly could. But when it comes right down to it, dude, I dropped out of college. I'm not in a position to be advising somebody this. And that was when it really hit me that, people find people on the internet or influencers or TV or whatever, and you start to put them in a different type of box. And all of a sudden their opinion does seem to mean more, and I've been in that situation really only a couple of times. It's not like everybody's like, oh my God, let's ask Erin. But when it does happen, I go through the sources and I send them resources and I say, you know what? I don't have all the answers. I don't, this is maybe my own experience or what I know. I said, but don't take my word for it. Please go and talk to this person or check out this resource or whatever. And I refer them out. But it really dawned on me how easy it would be to manipulate that person. How easy would it be for me to say, hey, you know what? Sign up for my workshop and I'll tell you all about how to parent, and how many people would pay me to do that? That might be a viable thing. So I think that's part of what kind of freaks me out about the whole social media thing is how easy it is for any Joe Blow to get on, whatever platform they prefer and be an authority. And somebody out there will take a look at them and take their word for it, And I think that
unfortunately, like in a lot of cases, the more aesthetically pleasing your appearance is, people are more likely to listen to you too. Like if you have somebody with minimal experience who is easy to talk to, I guess, in that people want to see them more online, like, they'll ask them more questions. But then somebody else who might have a lot of experience, but maybe isn't your stereotypical like attractive person, like they're less likely to be listened to. And like, why do we put more value on someone? I mean, I get it, like cognitively why we do it, but it's kind of disturbing. Like you're going to trust somebody over their appearance versus like their actual knowledge.
Well, like Jenny McCarthy. Let's go put some of this bullshit squarely on her shoulders.
Yes. Absolutely.
Because I read her book when I was pregnant, loved her book, Belly Laughs. And I got to the part about the anti-vax thing. And you know what I did? The first thing I did was start to question whether I was going to poke this brand new human being I was making with a whole bunch of stuff I didn't really know about. And me personally, I went and I learned about it and I asked the doctors and I proceeded to poke my kid with everything they had. But a lot of people just took her fucking word for it, And Gwyneth Paltrow's the same thing. We're all going to be stuffing fucking garlic and jade eggs up our pussies because she says so,
Yeah, please don't do that. Jade is very porous, and that's how you get infection. So don't.
I'm good. We'll go into what I think of my pussy another time.
For the audience, make sure you're using like things that are meant for that and that are like sanitized properly.
But that's it,
But I think Jenny was kind of one of the leaders of like the modern day, especially celebrity anti-vax movement, because that was the first time I never heard of it. When she started her bullshit about, and this was well before what we know of as the anti-vax movement now, but I'm talking about like mid 2000s when she started, my son has autism because of vaccines. And for years, people just kind of was like, well, yeah, I guess that could make sense. And it was not really questioned. You have the issue where, you have people like Tucker Carlson who will keep saying things, well, like, shouldn't these questions be asked? And isn't it okay, for this side to be heard? And okay, fine. With conspiracy theories, okay, every side should be heard, but you're putting equal weight behind something like flat Earth or anti-vax alongside, scientific research and evidence and everything. Instead
Well,
of
and in the same breath, they're demonizing science too. Like, because they've been priming people for this bullshit with the climate change stuff, because that's been fucking 30 years in the making. When I grew up in Orange County in California, we used to have, like, I would go outside and play, and I would come inside and my lungs would hurt. And I was told, you know what, don't, because this would have been like mid 80s, you played outside too long. Because I was breathing in so much fucking smog. And then when they changed the laws, it went away. It you can drive now down into the valley and you don't see that thick brown layer over the, anymore. And I was having a conversation with somebody in my family about all the strict laws that they were talking about. We were changing government governors or some shit. And they were talking about all the environmental laws. That was so much bullshit. And I'm like, but you remember when I was a kid telling me not to play outside too long because of the smog. And I was like, that shit went away because of these laws. But I mean, and now you're not for that. And they were stumped. They had nothing. They're like, oh yeah, well, I guess that worked. But he had been primed so much by Limbaugh. And I think it was before Tucker Carlson, but by all that bullshit, that he no longer could take the evidence that he knew personally, which was that the smog was fixed because of all the other laws, and it was over. But that is, in my mind, when I remember the first like remnants of science denial, because you're right, it's a blanket thing. If it looks like facts or something like that is going to start impacting somebody's business or whatever that business is, all of a sudden science is becoming demonized. And I think that's where you end up with people trying to heal their pussies with crystals and, all of a sudden, vaccines are poison. But it's a huge shift in the way that we discuss science, I think, online and by who's actually spouting it. These authority figures.
It's amazing when I think about it. Within my lifetime, we've gone from an environment where science was respected and everybody wanted to learn all about science, and I'm talking, the early 1960s here, to what we have today, which is just a total reversal, where the science, as you say, is seen as the demon, and gone is those Kennedy years where. Well, we thought we were going to die. We thought that the Ruskies were going to throw missiles at us, and that's why we got into the whole science and technology thing, so we could throw missiles back at them. And I have to wonder how much the end of the Cold War contributed to science denial. I do have to wonder.
I don't know.
But if I can't pronounce it, then it must be bad. So charcuterie is also bad and going to kill all of us.
Dave had to get going, so he said good night. But
I actually have to. I gotta run too.
I was just about to wrap up anyway, but yeah, well, I'll let you.
What Christmas presents here? What?
I'll let you say goodbye and get going, so you don't have to say, because I know you've been through enough. So, is there anything you want to shill before you get going, Erin?
Not really.
Okay.
Not really. I mean, just the same shit I always do. So.
Her stuff will be in the link below, erinlouis.com. Please make sure you buy her books. And
actually, everything. The Kindle Dirty Money is not available anymore because it's going to be re-released next year. And look, I did have something to show, sorry, but I'm actually running a Kindle promotion right now for Expose Yourself. So it's only 99 cents on Kindle right at the moment. So if anybody hasn't read that and they want to digitally, it's only $1. So.
It's awesome. Angel's actually reading it right now. So
that's terrifying.
Well, thank you so much, Erin. I love you so much. We'll see you later.
All right, bye.
Bye. Yeah, so anybody else have stuff to show? We'll start with Rex. How about you?
Oh, I've just been watching Star Wars all day today. So
Boy,
What Star Wars?
all of them. A
Oh,
New
like the
Hope.
movies?
Yeah, the movies. A
Oh,
New
okay.
Hope. Empire Strikes Back. Return of the Jedi. Force Awakens. They've been showing it on a loop. So
Oh well, we have Disney Plus. Plus, I think we own all the movies too, except for the newest one. I don't think we have the physical copy of that one. But
the Rise of Skywalker. That sucked.
yeah, well, no, it is, but we're a Star Wars family, so we need it all. But no,
Well,
we were
yeah, but
watching
it's
do
still.
you watch the Bad Batch?
I'm getting into it. I haven't
Mm.
watched the whole thing, and I haven't watched the second season of Mandalorian yet. So,
Oh well, you need to get on that. Most definitely.
well, I will. I will.
Bad Batch is it's more my son's thing, but well, then that's very cool. Um, Diana, yourself?
Yay! Well, come one, come all to the open chat come Tuesday at 7 Eastern. And Manda, I hope you join us. And anybody else here you want to join, just drop me a line and we can do something about that. Where Kate and I and Manda and Tina will be the view for YouTube. And we haven't quite yet figured out which one of us is Whoopi Goldberg, but we're working on it. Okay. And,
It's definitely you. You're definitely Whoopi.
Oh, alrighty. And yeah, we have a really good time on Tuesday evenings and Sundays at noon with Coffee with Lavender. And please, if you feel like you want something new, you've got nothing to do during those times, so let's come on over. And the channel is the Lavender Lady, and join us in the side chat, or even some folks have knocked on the door and they've actually joined the panel. And we had Phoebe Rose on today, for example, all the way from the UK.
Came on after I left.
Yeah, she came on for a little while, and
Ben, we'd love to have you on sometime.
There you go.
Ben, I'm talking to you.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was distracted for a second.
I said we'd love to have
My
you
brain
on
doesn't work today. Yeah, love to.
Well, yeah, you're in overdrive as a medical student. I don't know how you kids do it. I really don't. And you're not even into the hardest part of it yet. I mean, you're still a medical student. You're not an intern yet.
Yeah, no, that's
where they
coming.
drive you 48 hours per day.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I wasn't discounting you, Rex. I just meant because Ben's never been invited before. That's all.
Because I'm.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair. ABM.
Yeah.
One word to you. Be nice to your nurses. My mother was a nurse for 35 years. My sister's a nurse now. She's
I'm
gotten
nice
tired.
to everybody. Mutual respect is the key to success. So
exactly. And she's gotten tired of all this COVID crap, so she's going to dialysis now.
Oh my! Oh, send her over here, would you? No, I started dialysis in June, and it's fun.
Oh, sure it is.
Oh Lord! But I'll tell you, the people there are some of the nicest I've ever met. And when I was in hospital, because it was mid-June that I went in for 5 days, and the nurses were just so nice to me and so kind at me, and it was very, very good. It made it a little easier to take.
Well, that's fair. That's fair.
I'm just glad you're doing better, Diana.
Well, for the moment, and then anytime now, I'm just going to decide I'm going to die, and it's going to be okay.
Fuck off, Diana. Juan, do you want to jump in and have anything to share if you want? My producer, thank you, Juan Roderick, for producing. If he wants to come on again.
Well, that's what
hopefully next
produce.
Next Sunday. We're gonna do our show, Ben. If we have.
Yeah, I don't think I'm working next weekend. I'm only doing 2 weekends this month, I think. So.
All right. So next weekend, Ben and I will be talking about death. So,
Oh boy! Oh,
Such a happy topic.
yeah.
in a positive light, the good death, so to speak, but the what Ben has to deal with and some other aspects surrounding death. And then this Tuesday, I will be on Diana's, and then I will be on the goddamn podcast at 10 o'clock. So that's what
Wait a
TJ.
minute. The goddamn podcast. Who does that one?
TJ, and Dark Matter.
Oh, okay. Move Thief. Yeah, because I have to keep them all straight. Because isn't there also a god awful podcast, or is that something else? No Illusions and Eli and
I don't know. Maybe. One. Go ahead. You're muted.
You're
so-
muted, honey. You're muted.
Yeah, we can't hear a fucking word you're saying. There you go.
Whoops. Yeah, I should know better. My stuff is just myusername.com. That's it.
Cool. All right. Well, then I guess we will. I will see everybody next week or later in the week, whatever. Have a good week, and don't forget to think critically.
Same bad time, same
Oh
bad
yeah,
channel.
take care. Take care.